Hey guys, it's Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today is April 15th, tax day. It's 11:30 in the morning, and I got a few minutes before I have to run out and get some lunch, so I wanted to put up some pics, which I have posted in Facebook, the chat, Twitter, all that good stuff where I normally put them, but I wanted to do a video and kind of walk you through how I came up with those plays. So now that we've got the MLB cheat sheet up and running, I can spend a little bit more time looking at plays and doing some other things. And it looks really similar to the cheat sheet of years past. We have our same pitchers, hitters tab, our betting tab. This year we added a live lineups tab. So you can see down here it either says confirmed or projected lineup. So this is the projected lineup. Every time you save this to your desktop and you reopen it, give it about 20 seconds and it's going to go out and try to grab new lineups. Hey Google, stop. And sorry about that. And then we have our leaderboard tab, which is the same as last year. And I added a scorecard tab for props. So basically you can sort this by score, high to low, and it's going to take the player's last 14-day counting stats. And I also have a little weight in here on the opponent pitcher's xFIP and WHIP. And it's going to give you a score so you can kind of look at these guys over 80, 85. And these are the guys you kind of want to dig into and look at their individual player props, or that's typically what I do. And then some people said the tutorial videos are too long, so I've been working on a little tab here just talking about the general ERA, xFIP, WOBA, ISO, what it is, and then putting these little charts from Fangraphs to kind of show you what's good, what's bad, WOBA. And I'll continue to update this as needed. If you see something you want me to add, let me know. But basically, taking a look at this, I start over here on the betting board and I kind of scroll down and take a look at everything. This is going to give us a glimpse of, Vegas records over here. We have the opponent pitcher stats and then their last two starts. I love seeing the game logs. That's one of my favorite things. The opponent K rate, if you're looking at props. And then over here, I just want to see how the team's doing. How many runs have they scored over the last 6 games? So we're going to take a look at this. And then we've got a little indicator if they are hot, cold, warm. And then also the bullpen, I'm going to look at the last 2 weeks because I want to get a glimpse. If they were really good the first 2 months of the season and all of a sudden 2 guys got hurt and now they're going to crap, I want to know just the last 2 weeks what they're doing so we can see the bullpen record, ERA, xFIP, WHIP, home runs per 9, and just what the total rank is so we can get a good idea of the game. Now, I always start over here on the pitcher tab. Let me see if I can... Well, I don't want to zoom it out anymore because you won't be able to see it. So I did flip this around just a little bit so it may look different for you guys. So here, this is all of your strikeout tabs. This is the last 7 games for the pitcher, their average strikeouts. This is what the DK prop is for their strikeout and then the difference. So previously I had it over here. This morning after I released the sheet, I said, well, it makes sense to put it over here next to the average so we can see the average of the prop and the difference. So like here you can see this prop is 5. He's averaging 3.5. So he's averaging, 1.5 over. So you can take this if you're looking at K props, sort of high to low. You can see here there's a number of pitchers that don't have any stats yet. And I went to pull these up. Xavier Curry and most of these other guys don't have any games yet. Lorenzen hadn't thrown a game. Curry hadn't thrown a game. And these other 3 guys are call-ups or bullpen starts. The only one that did have stats was Spencer. Not even going to try to pronounce that last name, so he's on the list to get updated. But this is kind of what I do if I'm looking at strikeout props is I'll sort this by the difference and see who's above, who's below. But what's nice is you can see the opponent K rate right here. You can see, what their strikeout rate is, if it's good, if it's bad, like 16.8%, second best, that's really good. You probably don't want to take a K prop against them. But then over here you have the 30th team at 29.9%, which is astronomical. So that's a guy you might want to look at the over. So what we're looking for here is a K prop where his average, he's getting over it in most games. Now, most pitchers only have 2 or 3 starts, as you can see, but also a team that has a high K rate. So that's typically how I came up with... who did I post the other day? Like Detmer's 6.5 plus 130, and he hit it with 7. It was a plus money prop that we hit, so that was good. But this will be helpful going forward. And then flipping over here, we put the earned run prop right next to it again. I didn't see a lot of K props that I like today, so I flipped over to earned runs and some of the ones that jumped out at me on this first set of plays. So typically, I'm going to jump in, dig in. When I find 3 plays, I'm going to write them up. I'm going to show you how I came up with them. And then anything I pick up later on, I try to just share in the chat and post. But here we can see the game logs for the recent props. But I'm going to go over here and I'm going to sort by the difference. Sorry if I already said that. And then some of the ones that we can see the name. Let me slide this over here so you can see the name a little better. So right here we have this guy has 0, 1, 0 earned runs, but he has a earned run of 2.5. So that's someone we might want to take a look at. That's Cutter Crawford. That game has already started, so I'm not worried about that. Joe Ross, not real excited about him. But flipping down around here, where's the ones that I came up with? So George Kirby was the first guy. When I was digging through here, I was looking at him, and he had a good first start where he didn't allow any, but he's allowed 6 and 5 earned runs in the last 2 games. And then I was kind of shocked to see that his earned run prop right here is only 1.5. So Kirby, if he allows 2 earned runs, we win that bet. And he's allowed 11 across his last 2 starts. And then one of the other things is I want to know, did he just walk a guy and give up a home run, or did he just get hit? Here we can see this is as hits allowed. He's allowed 8 and 9 hits in his last 2 games. So either he's not into form, he's not throwing hard enough, but it's a one that is worthy of taking a look. And then also Varland and Cole Irvin, I was looking at these and I didn't realize they were playing each other, so we came up with something different for them. But in their last 2 starts, they've allowed 6 and 3 earned runs, 5 and 4 earned runs. They each have one of 2.5. So that was one that jumped out at me, looking at their hits, 7 and 6, 7 and 7. Okay, I like their over prop. So these are the 3 guys I would focus on, allowing more earned runs. Kirby, I'm going to do on an individual 1.5, and these other 2, I came up with a sneaky little bet. If you just do one, I like the going up against Varland 2.5. If you can't do the prop that I had posted. So let me flip over here to the main tab. Let me slide it back over here where you can see it. But again, you can do this, and we go all the way across to wins recorded because I love doing that prop. And then sometimes the walks allowed, that's fit in there with those same game parlays on DraftKings. And then home runs allowed. I can't remember why I put this in there, but basically if I'm doing home run props, I'm going to dig through here. Like here we have a couple pitchers who they've not given up a home run in 3 starts. And we have these pitchers here where they've given up a home run in every start. So that kind of helps with your home run props. But anyways, we're going to flip back over here. Let's go take a look at George Kirby. And down here, Seattle, he is pitching at home. That's something to take note of. And again, it's early in the season. We don't have a ton of stats. But I'm just going to look at the overall teams here. So Cincinnati, they've played 2 games on a road. They won 5-0, 11-1. So they're putting up some runs. They're doing pretty decent. Seattle, they're kind of all over the place, 3-7 over the last 10 games, but they did manage to squeak 2 out of the last 3 wins. But I'm looking at this, and they've only scored 1, 4, 6, 3, 2, 4. They're a little better than average, nothing great. They're 6-10 on the year. Here you can see at home they're 4-6. Cincinnati's 9-6 on the year. On the road where they are at today, they are 5-1. If you don't want to look at these basic stats of WOBA, ISO, team batting average, just look at WRC+. A basic one is 100 is like perfect league average. If you're above 100, you're above average. If you're below 100, you're less than league average. The key numbers you're looking at here are like on the Seattle side, 71 WRC+ at home, 91 on the road. So that tells me they are a below average team. But they are a little worse at home. That's a tougher ballpark to play in. But again, it's early in the year, so I'm going to give them a break. And then you come over here and you look at the WRC+, 101, 99. That's pretty solid. You know, that's right around 100. That's where I want to be. That's fantastic. So I like Cincinnati on this side. So let's go ahead and take a look at the pitchers. Well, we can see here these pitchers. Montas hadn't been too bad. You can see all my stuff with ERA and XFIP. Here's a good indication of one. But Kirby's the one that kind of jumps out at me. He's got an ERA of 8.16. Now, I don't like ERA. I've stated numerous reasons why, but one of the main stats that I like is the XFIP. So xFIP of 4.21, still a little higher than average, and his whip 153 is really high. You can see here in his last 2 starts, he's only lasted 4 and 4.2 innings and allowed 5 and 6 earned runs against Toronto and Cleveland. So something's going on there. I don't know what. If you were betting thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, I would want to look in and see, what was his velocity like? What was the breaking on his pitches? I would dig into this pretty deep. But for me, I'm, a little bit better than an average bettor. I'm just going to look at his stats and say, hey, he's allowed 11 earned runs in his last 8.2 innings. That's not worth a 1.5 earned run prop. So something's missing there. If it was 2.5, I may stay away from it. Kirby's a decent pitcher, but 1.5, I'm going to go after that one. When I come down here and I look at the George Kirby stats, let me make sure you can see that. You can. And we'll go ahead and look at his game logs as well. So here he started off really good. 7.2 innings, shutout, only allowed 2 hits. But then these last 2 starts, he's only allowed lasted 4.0 and 4.2 innings. And he's allowed 17 hits and 11 earned runs. So that right there is alarming. The whip tells me that he is putting a lot of people on base and he is giving up a lot of hits. Now, he didn't have any walks, but a 2 and a 2.45 with no walks means he gave up a crap ton of hits, which we can see with 17 hits in the last 2 starts. So that's something that I want to take note of. Now, if you want to dig into his individual stats over here, I'm going to look at lefty versus righty. Here he's got about the same, 7.1 innings split. You can see here, typically the opposite hand, it's always going to be a little worse because that's the more difficult batter to get. But his whip against lefties of 2.14 and his average of 394, that's kind of alarming. So he's struggling against left-handed hitters. So the second thing you want to go to is say, okay, well, how many left-handed hitters does Cincinnati have? If they roll out 9 right-handed hitters, I don't really care. He's probably going to do pretty good. But if they have 3 to 5 left-handed hitters, then that's probably something I want to look at and take advantage of. So we're going to come over here to Seattle. We're going to look at their lineup. And I just added this today because I realized we didn't have hitter hand in there. And we can see, so if it's green, it's lefty or both. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 left-handed hitters in there. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong team. Sorry, Kirby is going to face Cincinnati. And we look at that. I was thinking that was a little less. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 hitters that can hit from the left side of the plate of the 9. And the hottest hitter on the planet right now is Spencer Steer, who's a right-handed hitter. But versus right-handed pitching, here we can see Kirby's a righty. He's got a 406 average, a very low 18% strikeout rate, a WOBA of 539, and an ISO of 344. Now, if you come over here to the tutorial tab, let's go look at ISO numbers so I can kind of show you those. So ISO average is 140, above average is 170, a great ISO is 200, 250 is excellent. So then we come back over here and we're looking, he's got a 344 ISO, which makes him excellent. So to me, there are 6 of the 9 hitters in this lineup that can really get to George Kirby and cause him problems. So that's something I'm going to do. If I'm playing DFS, I had posted on the tip, I definitely want these 3 guys, Fraley, De La Cruz, and Steer in my lineup. It's a 5, 6, 7 in the projected lineup, and that's going to be sneaky because most average daily fantasy players are going to do 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 2 to 6. That's about as far as they go. So for me, I would stack 3, 4, 5, and then I would go from there and try to figure out who else you like. We give these players custom grades, so I always stack any guys in red. And then Fraley here is a lefty, and he's hitting really good against righties. I'm going to put him in there. And then Steer, you've got to have him in there. Just his ISO and how hot he is right now. Those 3 are an absolute staple. And they're really, they're priced a little high. Fraley's not bad. Steer and De La Cruz you're going to pay up for, so you got to find some cheap pitchers. But again, George Kirby over 1.5 earned runs is one I am going to take a shot at. So the other prop that I had, I was flipping through here looking at all of the pitchers. And let me find it. Find over here. So Minnesota, Baltimore. That was the other one. I liked both of those overs. They were 2.5. And then Minnesota, Baltimore. Let me find it. Oh, I just saw, or is Baltimore. Okay. So what's funny is I was looking at both of these pitchers and I'm like, okay, Varland, he's allowed 6 and 3 earned runs. Cole Irvin is allowed 5 and 4 earned runs. I like both of those over 2.5 props. Both teams are decent. They have the ability to put up some runs. So I didn't realize they were playing each other. So when I started looking at the over 2.5, I found one that was both teams to score at least 2 runs in the first 5 innings plus 120, and it jumped to plus 130 while I was writing it up before I posted it on Twitter. So basically, you're taking each of these starting pitchers to go, if they last about 5 innings, which is what they do, to go over 1.5 earned runs, and we get plus money. So I liked that as opposed to taking over 2.5. Now, if you don't have that option on DK, I'm not sure what FanDuel has. I don't have a FanDuel account that I use. I just didn't like their setup. I like going Varland over 2.5 earned runs. That's the one I would do if you're on Price Picks or something like that. And the reason is when we come down here, we look at these two pitchers. Here we can see all their game logs, and they're pretty much about the same. But Varland here versus lefties, we can see a 188 whip, 348 average. That's pretty large. And even versus righty, he's got a 218 whip and a 313 average. So he's also getting thumped a little bit. So I want to go over here and I want to see how many lefties Baltimore has. Now, the first thing I notice is the first 4. Lefty, switch, lefty. There's a righty who's been doing pretty decent. And then 2 more lefties. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, excuse me. 7 guys that can hit from the left side of the plate. So Varland could be in trouble. And then over here you see this red. Red, if you're not playing daily fantasy, you're just looking at betting and props, think of red as hot hitters. You know, these are games they had where they exceeded a certain value based on their price. So those are, you can see there's a lot of them here. If you're playing fantasy, this Colton Cowser, he's someone I would definitely have in all my lineups, even as a one-off play with another stack. He is cheap on DK at 3,700, only 3,400. And look at these DK points, 10, 21, 37, 16, 18, 17. He has 5 games in a row of double-digit fantasy points, so his value is off the charts. You can see here he's got a 4.59 value, and there's no one else on the team that's really even close to that. Westberg's been pretty good, and even if you want to stack this, I wouldn't mind doing like a 7-8 stack with Cowser, Westbrook, Jackson Holiday. I'll have to check his name. He should be pulling stats, but he's not yet. But anyways, Colton Cowser is someone that I would use. Also someone I meant to put in for a prop, as he has a really good setup here. You can see versus pitcher hand, he's hitting 481 with a 632 WOBA, 556 ISO. That is absolutely off the chart. So I would go Varland over 2.5 earned runs for that prop. And then the last one I did, I wanted to get some action in this Dodger game. Now, when you look at this, Parker Mitchell, he's a call-up or a bullpen guy that's coming up to make the start for Washington, who doesn't have anything to play for this year. You can see they're 6-9, 4-5 on the road. And then we have Tyler Glasnow, who's an absolute stud. You can see here ERA of 2.25, xFIP of 2.99, which is unreal, a whip of 0.75, and a high K9 rate. He's coming off of a start against Minnesota where he went 7 innings and had 14 strikeouts and no earned runs. So he is elite and in form right now, playing a bad team, and he is at home, so that is even better. So the money line on this game was like minus 340. It was something absolutely insane. You cannot take that. I won't take anything that big, but I do want some action. So some of the ways I can attack this are I'll take the Dodgers run line, which has still got a little bit of juice built into it, but minus 1.5 I really don't have an issue with. I will also take the LAD first 5 run line, which is basically the Dodgers minus a half a run through the first 5 innings. I don't think Tyler Glasnow gives up 2 runs, and I think they are going to score well over 2 runs, so I think you're good there. You could even get sneaky and go first 5 minus 1.5 runs. The prop that I'm waiting for on DK right now is Tyler Glasnow to record a win. And what I'm looking for is I want to see if the juice for him to record a win is better than taking the run line or the first 5 run line. And I'm going to take whichever one is the better juice. Right now, I just took first 5 run line with the other 2 bets. I went over the Kirby over 1.5. And then both teams have scored 2+ runs in the first 5 innings. and I put those together for like plus 450, plus 460, somewhere around there. But I definitely want to get some action on these Dodgers tonight. Washington's been decent, not great, but LAD at home with an ace on the mound, that's someone I definitely want to get a hold of. So that's what I got for today, guys. Good luck.